My name is Delphine Rose Thibodeau. I am 68 years old today, and for the last 54 months, I have carried a story inside me that feels like a whole cathedral made of tears and light. Some mornings I wake up before the roosters, sit on my little pink porch in the bywater, and watch the sun climb over the Mississippi while the weight of that night settles on my shoulders again. But today, on my birthday, I have decided the story no longer belongs only to me. Today, I give it to the wind, to the river, to every mother, father, child, and grandparent who has ever been hurt by the ones they love most. Today, I set it free. This is the complete, gentle, family-safe telling of the night my only daughter, Soline Grace Thibodeau, stood frozen while her new mother-in-law poured a 2-quart crystal pitcher of piping hot oyster artichoke soup over my head in the grand crystal ballroom of the Hotel Monteleone, then looked straight into my burning eyes and repeated the cruel words her mother-in-law had just spoken. "You finally got what you deserved, Mama." Those words hurt 1,000 times worse than the second-degree burns on my face, neck, and chest. This is the story of a simple veil maker from the bywater who lost her husband to the sea, raised her daughter with nothing but love and a sewing needle, and on the night she should have danced the proudest dance of her life, was publicly shamed in front of 1,200 guests. Yet, it is also the story of the quiet phone call I made from a service hallway that smelled of lemon polish and old magnolias, a call that brought every hidden truth into the open, saved my daughter's future, and taught an entire city what real strength looks like. Come sit with me a long, long while. Bring your coffee, bring your sweet tea, bring your children close. Let the ceiling fan turn slow and the cicadas sing their evening hymn. Let me tell you everything, from the very first stitch to the very last prayer. I was born in the spring of 1957 in a little pink shotgun house on Piety Street, right where the bywater meets the river's breath. My daddy, Mr. Clarence Trumpet Landry, played second-line trumpet so sweet the angels leaned over heaven's rail to listen. My man, Miss Coralie Landry, made the finest church hats in the 7th Ward, hats so tall and glorious the ladies felt closer to God just putting them on. I learned to thread a needle before I could spell my name. I learned that love is measured in tiny, perfect stitches no one else notices until they see the whole beautiful thing. At 19, I married Etienne Thibodeau, a shrimper with hands gentle enough to cradle a newborn and strong enough to wrestle the Gulf. We danced to Louis Armstrong under strings of Christmas lights the night he proposed. We promised each other forever on the levee at sunset, with the river as our witness. 2 years later, Soline Grace was born, pink and screaming and perfect. The same week the river rose so high it kissed the bottom of the Industrial Canal Bridge. We thought we had all the time in the world. Then came April 20th, 2010. Deepwater Horizon. Etienne was running supplies to the rig. The explosion lit up the night like a second sun. For 11 days I prayed beside the radio. On the 12th day, they found his life vest drifting near the Chandela Islands. They never found him. I buried an empty casket under a spreading live oak in St. Vincent, Delaware Paul Cemetery No. 2. I came home to a 5-year-old girl clutching her daddy's old cap, asking, "When is he coming back from fishing, Mama?" That night I made 2 promises, one to God and one to Soline. We will survive. And we will never let bitterness live in this house. I turned the front parlor into Delphine's veils and millinery. I made wedding veils that floated like clouds, christening gowns soft as butterfly wings, first communion veils that made little girls feel like brides of heaven. I stitched cathedral-length mantillas for uptown debutantes who never learned my name. I made simple lace circles for second-line brides who paid me with plates of red beans and the biggest hugs you ever felt. I worked until my eyes burned, until my fingers bled, until the electric bill was paid and Soline had new shoes. I sold jambalaya plates on the corner during Jazz Fest. I taught sewing classes to children on Tuesday nights for $5 a lesson. I never took charity. I never let Soline see me cry. She grew up on the floor of my shop, sorting buckets of pearls by moonlight that spilled through the front window. She learned to thread a needle at 6, to make perfect French knots at 8, to cut tulle without wasting a scrap by 10. Every night, she fell asleep to the rhythm of my foot on the treadle machine, the same lullaby her daddy once sang. "Mama," she would say, swinging her legs from my cutting table, When I grow up, I'm going to buy you the biggest house on St. Charles Avenue with a garden full of night-blooming cereus, and you'll sit on the porch all day drinking sweet tea while somebody else does the sewing. I would laugh until my sides hurt, kiss her forehead, and keep stitching. I paid for Xavier University one veil at a time. I skipped new dresses, new coats, dentist visits, everything. Soline graduated summa cum laude in communications, got a wonderful job helping nonprofits tell their stories, and every single Sunday came home with a box of beignets from Café du Monde and arms that wrapped around me like sunrise. Then she met Beaumont St. Clair Chastant. He was quiet, polite, raised in the crumbling family mansion Belle Rive outside Houma. His father had passed years earlier, leaving mountains of debt hidden behind magnolia trees. His mother, Madame Marguerite Eloise Chastant, still wore pearls and pride like armor, still spoke as if the Civil War ended last week and her side had won. From the first visit, I felt the chill. Madame Marguerite walked through my little pink house, looked at my hand-painted walls and lace curtains I had restored myself, and said with a smile sharp as broken glass, how perfectly quaint. She refused the gumbo I cooked for 3 days. She drank water from a crystal bottle she carried in her handbag. Slowly, Sunday dinners became every other Sunday, then once a month, then only hurried phone calls. Soline's eyes changed when she spoke of Mother Marguerite this and Mother Marguerite that. I swallowed the hurt and kept smiling. Then came the plain manila envelope pushed under my shop door one rainy Thursday. Inside were bank statements, forged letters, secret emails, and a tiny recorder pen. Page after page showed Madame Marguerite stealing from charities, forging signatures, moving money that was never hers. Worst of all were the messages to Soline, sweet as poisoned honey. Your mother is ashamed of where she comes from. She wants to keep you small. She is jealous of your new life. Real ladies don't live in little pink houses. And the final document, a new trust paper ready for Soline to sign right after the wedding, a paper that would quietly transfer every penny of the $15 million trust into Madame Marguerite's control. The trust my Etienne's best friend, Monsieur Lucien Dupré, had created the day Soline was born. Money meant only for her future, her children, her dreams, never for anyone else. I sat on the floor of my shop and cried until there was nothing left but prayer. I took everything to Monsieur Lucien, 90 years old, still living in his quiet stucco house beside Audubon Park, still sharp as the day he made his first million. He read every page under his green banker's lamp. He listened to every recording with tears rolling down his ancient cheeks. When he finished, he closed the folder, took my hands, and said in that slow, strong voice, "Delphine Rose, you just saved our baby's life. Now let this old lion roar one last time." His plan was gentle, clean, and unstoppable. I would go to the wedding. I would wear my finest gown. I would sit quiet and proud. The moment Madame Marguerite showed her true heart in front of witnesses, I would call. He would come with lawyers, notaries, and police officers who still remembered the favors he had done for the city. The wedding day came like a dream wrapped in white satin. I wore the most beautiful gown I ever created, deep amethyst silk with a sky full of hand-sewn crystals and a cathedral-length mantilla of rose point lace that took me 18 months and 1,800 hours of love. Every bead was a prayer. Every stitch was a promise. I sat alone in the 20th row of St. Louis Cathedral while the Chastant relatives filled the front. When the organ played and Soline appeared on Monsieur Lucien's arm, because Madame Marguerite had convinced her I was not formal enough to walk her down the aisle, she looked like moonlight made flesh. She had no idea she was walking toward chains. At the reception in the Monteleone's crystal ballroom, they seated me at table 68, hidden behind a tower of white roses. When it was time for the mother-daughter dance, Madame Marguerite took my place on the floor with Soline. I smiled through tears no one saw. Then Madame Marguerite walked straight to my table carrying the heavy crystal pitcher of hot soup. The entire room fell silent. She lifted it high and poured every drop over my head, down my face, my neck, my beautiful gown. The pain was instant and fierce. But I did not make a sound. She announced loudly, This is what happens to people who try to rise above their station. And my Solene, my only child, my heart walking outside my body, looked at me with eyes full of someone else's words and repeated softly, "You finally got what you deserved, Mama." Something inside me broke so completely the burns felt like nothing. I took the white napkin from my lap, pressed it gently to my face, stood up with every ounce of grace 68 years had given me, and walked out of that ballroom without a stumble, without a tear, without a single word. But in the quiet service corridor, beneath a painting of a long-ago riverboat captain, I opened my phone, found the contact saved only as Papa Lucien, and whispered 7 calm words. "It is time, Cher. Bring the truth." Then I walked through the lobby with soup cooling on my skin, past shocked guests and crying bridesmaids, got into my old pearl-white Cadillac with the rosary on the mirror, and drove home with peace in my heart for the first time in months. 71 minutes later, Monsieur Lucien Dupré walked into the crystal ballroom leaning on his cane, followed by 10 lawyers, 6 notaries, 4 police captains, and 2 federal judges who still called him Sir. He plugged a small drive into the projector. The romantic slideshow vanished. In its place appeared every forged document, every stolen dollar, every lying message, every plan to rob Solene of her future. The room heard Madame Marguerite's own voice laughing about teaching the little Bywater woman her place. Solene screamed and ran into Monsieur Lucien's arms, sobbing, I didn't know, I believed her." Madame Marguerite tried to speak and was gently led away by officers. "She is now living quietly far away. We still live in our little pink shotgun house on Piety Street. My shop is now twice as big. I teach 20 children every week how to sew, free of charge." Solene runs the Solene Grace Foundation, helping mothers raise their children after storms, after loss, after heartbreak. She falls asleep on the sofa most nights with her head in my lap while I bead, and I stroke her hair and thank God for second chances that come wrapped in pain. Every Sunday we sit on the porch eating beignets, watching the riverboats go by, laughing until our sides hurt. The night blooming Sirius opens white and fragrant under the moon, and we breathe it in like forgiveness. Monsieur Lucien passed peacefully 3 years ago, holding both our hands, smiling because he kept every promise he ever made. He left the shop building to me, rent-free forever, and a fund so no child I teach ever has to pay for thread or hope. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, a letter arrives postmarked from a small coastal town. Inside is always the same short message in careful handwriting. "Thank you, Miss Delphine, for showing the world what a real mother looks like. I am trying every day to be half the person you are. I keep every letter in a cedar box under my bed. One day I will answer. Because love is patient. Love is kind. Love keeps no record of wrongs. And a mother's love can carry the whole world on its shoulders and still have room to hug one more hurting heart. This is my story, pure and gentle and full of light. A story for every child who has a mama who sacrifices, every parent who has been misunderstood, every grandparent who prays in the dark. If anyone has ever tried to make you feel small, if anyone you love has believed lies about you, remember Delphine Rose Thibodeau walking out of that grand ballroom with soup in her hair and heaven in her eyes. You are never what they say you are. You are what love made you, strong, kind, beautiful, and unbreakable. I walked through fire. I came out shining. My daughter came home. Our hearts are whole. And tonight the Sirius is blooming again, filling the whole Bywater with sweetness. Love always wins. Always. From which corner of this big, beautiful world are you reading this today? Come tell me in the comments. Bring your mama, your children, your best friend. This story was heavy once, but now it is made of pure light. Share it freely. Love it loudly. And never forget, the storm always passes, the sun always returns, and a mother's love is the strongest, sweetest thing God ever created.